Okay, hi. It's 2:57 on Friday afternoon. Just a quick video here about week one and an intro into week two. I thought we got off to a great start this week. I appreciate the participation in the forums and that all of you have signed up for when you're going to give your presentations. So that's fabulous. I think the essence of week one is twofold. One, as we read on page 20 in chapter 1, we have emphasized that the role of evaluation is to provide answers to questions about a program that will be useful and will actually be used. This point is fundamental to evaluation. Its purpose is to inform action. And that goes to the heart then of our discussion in discussion forum 1 about your experiences with evaluation and what you think about them. And as it was reflected in your comments, and it's been my experience as well, that evaluation is sometimes a gotcha sort of experience where essentially the evaluation is kind of used to say what you did wrong and to parcel blame, as opposed to what we hope evaluations can be, which is the provision of useful information so that improvements can be made in the program and the service delivery so that the impact that you want, the amelioration of social problems, can actually occur. And when evaluations are done in this second way, as a collective learning experience that's intended to not get you, but rather to help everybody involved in the program to help it get better, then evaluation can be very powerful, useful, and actually a positive experience for everyone involved. Okay? The second piece then about the opening week is that we looked at that case study about the fire department, the Carlton Fire Department, and we looked at the evaluation, the national evaluation that I guess involved Carlton, or maybe not, but was being used to judge the quality of services provided by the Carlton Fire Department. And I think the conclusion there that we got at was that evaluations that are designed well can serve a useful purpose, and when they're maybe not designed well or not used in a constructive way, then they're more of the gotcha sort of experience and tool to hit people over the head as opposed to help them actually improve services. And the difficulty in some circumstances of designing good programs, evaluations rather, is discussed in chapter 2 of this week's reading. Is at the top of page 46. So I just point that out to you. Okay, so what are we doing on week 2? We'll be reading chapters 2 and 3 in Rossi, and I wanted to just talk about that a little bit. These two chapters basically introduce the major themes that will be discussed in more detail in latter chapters in the book. So they create a nice overview for us of evaluation and what we'll be studying the rest of the course. Essentially, let's see, there are a couple of things here. The major theme of chapter 2 is that you tailor the evaluation to provide information that can be used to improve program and social action aimed at ameliorating social problems. Okay, that's pretty self-evident. But there's a further discussion then about how in order for it to be used and to be useful by people who are stakeholders in the program, you have to, as an evaluator, really figure out what information would be useful to those stakeholders and how is it that they want to use the evaluation process. And this is a theme. We saw it in the first chapter. It's here in the second chapter. You'll see it in the third chapter. It really runs throughout the book that if you're going to create an evaluation that's really useful to people, you need to speak with them about why they want the evaluation, what are they going to use it for, so that you can in fact make sure that your evaluation asks questions that will get them that information that's needed or that's desired. Okay? Rossi does put the caveat here, though, that it's typical that program evaluations and their usefulness are in part dependent upon the stage of development of the program. It's sort of like the life cycles theory that we studied in the strategic management course 625, and the life cycles model posits that depending upon the development of an organization, there are specific challenges that an organization needs to meet based upon its stage of development. Similarly here, Rossi would say that depending upon the stage of the development of the program, there are various sets of questions, evaluation questions, that are most useful to ask. Okay? And where's the note? Where's the note? Nope. Where's the note? Well, it's on page 40. Here. It's on page 40, where there's a very nice chart. It's chart 2E that discusses different stages of program development and the types of evaluations that probably are most useful to use based upon the development of the program. But then he goes on and talks a little bit about program theory and how this is a good starting place for any discussion about an evaluation. And the program theory is essentially how and what the program is intended to do, in the ideal, and what it is ideally meant to accomplish. Okay? And it's from the discussion of that ideal that then you can figure out what essential questions are needed to be asked. And that's talked about in on the top of 54, page 54, and they talk about 5 basic types of assessments. One is the needs assessment. One is the assessment of the program theory that we just talked about. A process evaluation. What is it that the program is supposed to be doing? What processes is it supposed to perform? Is it actually performing those processes? A fourth assessment is an impact or outcome evaluation. And finally, a 5th type of evaluation is the efficiency assessment. In other words, how efficient and economical is the program actually attaining its impact. Okay? So that's the end of chapter 2. And then in chapter 3, he goes on and talks about how in any evaluation then, whatever type it is, you need to design evaluation questions that will elicit and get you the information related to the purpose and goals of the evaluation as set out by your stakeholders. Okay, and he talks about how different types of assessments typically require different types of evaluation questions, and those are sort of listed on page 77 and 78, so that's a good point to be there. A third point in chapter 3 is that there's a natural hierarchy here in terms of the type of assessments that you might want to perform. In other words, it's sort of like you can't be expected to run and do higher level physical work if you haven't learned to crawl or walk yet. And it's similarly here in evaluations and program development, that if you haven't done some of the foundational work properly, trying to do more advanced or a higher higher functioning sorts of evaluations are sort of useless. In other words, you don't time a baby on how fast they can run because they're only crawling at this point. And so on page 78, I'm thinking. I don't see it on my note. 78? Oh, that was the last thing I just said. Hang on here. Oh my god, sorry. Tailoring. Where is it? Oh. I have too many notes here. I got mixed up. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so on page 80, he talks about that hierarchy. Okay? Okay, and so finally, at the end of that chapter, he rounds back again to this notion of making sure that your evaluation is useful to those who want to use it and the stakeholders of the program. And so he talks a lot then about talking to those stakeholders about the purpose of the evaluation and what they want why they want it and what they want to use it for. Okay? And what information they're looking for. So it's out of this discussion with the stakeholders, your thought about the stage of development of the program, that you think about, well, what would be a useful type of evaluation in order to get meaningful results that will be used by the stakeholders to actually improve programs to impact and ameliorate the social problems that the programs are intended to address. Okay? Hope that didn't go too far astray. But he talks about, again, then, starting with program theory, and that's a good place to start. Okay, so I think that's all for now. I think that's it. I've talked a long time, 12 minutes, so I'll wrap it up and just say great first week, and I look forward to a wonderful second week as well. Okay, and again, any questions, comments, just give a call, okay? Someone called me this week about how you do a voiceover on the PowerPoints. If that's a question, you can call me or Tracy. She knows how to do it really well, and the sun just came out. Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.